What's up, guys? You already know what it is. We are back for another
Again,
episode
I didn't expect.
of
I didn't
the
expect. I was down on my phone.
Laymans
That just looked
project.
bad. That just looked
No worries. We're all here.
bad. Yeah,
Everyone's
no, it's
present.
a safe space.
No, yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Sick, my
So
goodness.
Franz is going to introduce our guest, and then we're going to tell you some more about these tickets we have on display here.
Big
Take
up
it away,
519,
Franz. Big up
and I think I can.
519.
So, Graeme Gillezeau is a San Fernando businessman who has worked in several industries over the years, including banking, automotive, food and beverage, and most recently the oil field. But he is here tonight for a different reason. He is also a member of a men's-only fraternal organization that is one of the oldest social and charitable organizations in the world, the history of which spans centuries. An organization shrouded in mystery and, as a result, misunderstanding. An organization known as the Freemasons. So, to shed some light on both the organization itself and his interest in such, Graeme Gillezeau, welcome to the Laymans Project.
Living without you, baby.
I can't live without you, I can't be without you for too long. Cause when I'm around you, I feel like the heavens is coming down.
Applause. Wild applause.
Yeah, appreciate the crowd.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for inviting me here tonight. It's a pleasure to be here. I've looked at
Jesus.
several of your podcasts and have enjoyed them
Will not toast water.
Going away.
immensely.
Thank you
Oh,
so
we appreciate that.
much.
In case you all missed the last name, he's also my father.
Or the resemblance, because they're almost
Or the
identical.
resemblance. Can't hide that either.
Yeah, just look at the face, you know.
Yeah.
So I think before we get, because this is an episode I was waiting on since season 1.
Yeah, when I told Vaughn about this one, he's like, really? Okay, cool.
So we're just going to run down we're going to run through the list of activities that will be available to the public, courtesy of 519. So we have on Thursday, the 21st of November, San Cuche Parang Band. So that's Thursday, the 21st of November, and that's starting at 8 p.m. On Thursday, the 28th of November, we have Alana Fuentes and 1990, the band. That's also starting at 8 p.m. On Sunday, December 1st, we have
I think I can.
I Can, which is the charity event.
It's a charity event for cancer.
For cancer, right. So we have some tickets here by Pink I Can if you're interested in attending, because France, I have my outfit for I Pink I Can already.
Is it pink?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I have a salmon colored shirt I could probably wear.
Sweet.
Might get through that.
So the Laymans will be at I Pink I Can. I would recommend wearing
I have a
pink.
pink one if you want to borrow it.
Well,
It'll fit you good.
I just get sorted out there then.
What would be ideal is if we could have you come to I Pink I Can. So you may need to wear it for yourself. Of course, so that's the invitation extended.
And anybody who was there last year knows that it was
Yeah,
a
it was
real
lit.
good event. It is
Yep.
something to put on your social calendar every year for sure.
Right, so that's I Pink I Can. Tickets are available. You can come down and pick them up. Thursday, the 5th of December is Crazy. So I'm guessing that's Crazy the artist.
Uncle Crazy,
Uncle
correct.
Crazy, correct. That's at 8 p.m. Thursday, the 5th of December. Thursday, the 12th of December will be Rome performing. That's also at, you guessed it, 8 p.m. And then on Thursday, the 19th of December at 8 p.m., we're going to close off the roster of activities with Scrunter at 8 p.m. So, guys, you can just rewind the episode to get that itinerary, because we are about to delve into
And I
the
feel like Vaughn
mystique.
will also put this up on the screen so you won't actually have to rewind the episode.
For sure. And we're about to delve into the mystique of the Freemason.
The Freemasons. Cue ominous music.
Okay.
So, hit us initially with a Cliff Notes version of the history of Freemasonry, if you would.
Right. Well, legend has it
I like how we started already.
that Freemasonry goes back thousands of years to the time of King Solomon, who we as Freemasons hold as up on a pedestal, because King Solomon, if you know anything of the Bible and of that time, was considered the wisest of the wise. And the basis of Freemasonry is trying to build King Solomon's temple. The temple itself being the person.
Right, okay.
So that's where the basis of it is. So the legend goes along that the Egyptians, the builders of the pyramids, were Freemasons. Now Freemasonry, as something of an organization, was started in Scotland in the 1300s, where the actual builders of churches, castles, cathedrals were actual masons
Stone
that
masons.
worked in the stone. Now, the Freemasons meant that they were specialized in the building, and they worked in something called freestone. Right? That is the carvings that went on. And inside there, also, they organized themselves into what we know as lodges. Now, the lodge itself was a little room at the back of the cathedral or the castle that they were building. That's where the group of masons got together, and they would teach the younger masons their work. They were very specialized in what they do, just like how we have mechanics and plumbers and all of them. They were very specialized in what they did. And they would organize themselves into what we know as lodges, but it was like a little society where they pooled their resources to help one another. Right? So if one fell sick, they would take up a collection to assist the family until he got back on his feet, etc., etc., etc. Now, Freemasonry spread from Scotland to England onto the continent, and well, now it's literally worldwide. In the 1600s, late 1600s, when castles and cathedrals and churches were no longer being built in quantities, the societies, people looking at the societies, started saying, I like what these guys are doing. I like the organization they have. I like how they help one another. And it started drifting from what we call operative Freemasonry, which is actually working in the stone, to speculative Freemasonry, which is outsiders coming in to organize themselves along the lines of the lodges. So in 1717, the first Grand Lodge was established in England, and it was made up of 4 or 5 lodges that got together and said, we have all of these lodges all over England, but we don't have a governing body to look after the entire structure. So and in those days, they used to meet above a bar. Those are where the first lodges, the first speculative lodges were established, in bars and things like that. So in 1717, and we celebrated this literally, 7 years ago, we celebrated that worldwide, the establishment of the first Grand Lodge. The first Grand Lodge of Scotland, that was the first Grand Lodge of England. The first Grand Lodge of Scotland followed in 1735. The first lodge in Trinidad was formed in 1795.
What?
Yep.
Serious? So that was... We were under the British by then? I forget my primary school history.
We were under the British. We were under the British.
Okay.
And it is...
Wow.
It's on
There's a
Piccadilly
huge chunk
Street.
of hidden Trinidadian history.
It's on Piccadilly Street in Port of Spain, on a little hill that overlooks the city. And it has been there, like I said, for a couple of hundred years.
Yeah. Wow. I had no idea.
Oh, yeah. No, we have a history.
Join the club.
We have a history in Trinidad where Freemasons from that particular lodge, and it's called Lodge United Brothers, or the original name, because it came from further up the island, was called Les Frères Unis. United Brothers, Les Frères Unis. Well, now it's called Lodge United Brothers. And we actually have a history where members or brethren of Lodge United Brothers fought in Venezuela with Simon Bolivar against the Spanish to liberate Venezuela. We have documented history where one of their greatest generals came from Trinidad. He was not Trinidadian, because remember we were under the Spanish, so there was still a lot of Spanish influence. Fought alongside Simon Bolivar. So we have a history in Trinidad. And then that was the first, and it has expanded. We now have, that was the first lodge in Trinidad, and it was a Scottish lodge. But actually it started off, their first charter, I think, was a little bit earlier, and it was an American lodge, because the Spanish couldn't get along with the English, so
Naturally.
they chartered themselves with the Americans, and then they then got a charter from the Scottish, and that's what it started. We now have in Trinidad, Tobago, and Grenada 24 lodges. And that is spread between, excuse me, three what are called constitutions. We have the English Constitution, the Scottish Constitution, and the Prince Hall Constitution, which is an American constitution. So we have right now 13 Scottish lodges under the Constitution of Trinidad, Tobago, and Grenada. We have 8 English lodges, and we have 3 Prince Hall lodges, which is the American lodge. And it's all governed by district grand lodges that look after their particular district. So that's like the governing body. And that is the basic individual history type. I mean, there's so much to Masonic history.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you're talking thousands of years, but that's why I just wanted like Cliff's Notes. And that was a lot.
Not only thousands of years, but it's thousands of years of little known history.
Well, yes. Worldwide, yes. Because again, shrouded in mystery and such. So how come Trinidad, Tobago, and Grenada?
Yeah.
That's a little bit. I'm not too sure how that came together. I really can't answer that.
I guess proximity, but
Yeah.
I mean, how come?
Yeah, because we are considered Southern Caribbean. Because there are grand lodges in Barbados, the Eastern Caribbean, in Jamaica, there's in Guyana, so Grenada fell with us
Okay.
under the Scottish Constitution. The English Constitution is strictly Trinidad and Tobago. Scottish is Trinidad,
okay.
Tobago, and Grenada. And
All
there's
right.
one Scottish lodge in Grenada.
Okay. So, well, I mean, of course, there's endless more history to unearth, but that's the Cliff's Notes of Masonic history worldwide and in Trinidad, which, I mean, I didn't realize. I mean, imagine 300-400 years of Freemasons in Trinidad. That's wild. So, how did you get involved in Freemasonry?
Well-
When, how, that kind of thing.
I've been a Freemason for 20 years. This year is 20 years since I joined Freemasonry. And I joined fairly late in life.
Just the 20 years. Salute.
I joined fairly late in life. I was obviously 46 at the time. I've heard a lot about the Freemasons growing up. My uncle, which is my mother's brother, was a very well-known Freemason. And I remember as a child, when he visited the lodge in San Fernando, he would come to our house to dress. And he was always in this black suit and carrying this little suitcase that had multicolored things in it.
Did he have a kilt?
He did not have a kilt.
It's disappointing for a Johnson in a lodge not to be wearing his kilt.
No.
How very dare he?
The kilt is a different thing altogether.
Okay, fair play.
That we can talk about shortly.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But I remember my uncle coming down, and I was always fascinated that, he would talk to my mother a little bit about it. He was considered a little bit of the black sheep of the family because my mother's family was a very religious Catholic family.
Yeah, because I was going to ask. I'm sure he wasn't. It didn't go over well.
But he was very, very well known. He was very well respected in local Freemasonry and internationally because he had been to lodges in Washington and Scotland and England and, so.
What was his name?
Sonny.
Uncle Sonny. Big up
Sonny
Uncle
Johnson.
Sonny.
Big up your uncle.
Big up
Sonny
Uncle
Johnson.
Sonny Johnson.
Very, very well known Mason. So that was kind of the start of it. And then I have always been a kind of student of history. And I used to come across in my historical readings about the Freemasons. And it always had a kind of attraction for me. Some friends of mine who were involved in Freemasonry approached me one time, in fact on a couple of occasions, to join. I said, well, give me some idea of what it's all about. So after a couple of years, I decided that it was time for me to do it. And one of the reasons for that was that I felt that Freemasonry would give me the opportunity to give back to society something. Let me give you just a little outline of what Freemasonry is kind of all about. The buzzwords of Freemasonry is to take a good man and make him a better man. It's also called a peculiar system of morality veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols. Okay?
Secret society thing.
That's where
Now it's getting cool.
that's where a lot of the stigma
Yeah.
came from. There's no stigma in Freemasonry. There's no.
Well, not in it. There's stigma around it.
There's stigma around.
Around it.
Yeah.
Now, back even into the 70s, we were basically known as a secret society. Mm-hmm. But then, particularly in England, it was a serious attempt to start opening up the society more to, the man in the street and so forth. And then we became a society with secrets.
Right.
Different thing. Mm-hmm. And now we consider ourselves to be a family. Every family has secrets. So what are the secrets of Freemasonry? A lot of them
Well, I
have
was
to
going to
do-
ask, but I didn't assume you were going to tell us.
No. I won't. Trust me.
That's what I figured.
The secrets of Freemasonry are basically modes of recognition and the method in which we teach. Now, we are not a religion because we are open to all religions. All right?
The overarching, sorry to cut you off, but the overarching, what should I call it, requirement is belief in a higher power.
In a higher power.
Yes.
No matter what you may call it,
Right, yeah.
right? God, Allah, Krishna, whatever, because we are all encompassing. Now, we are religious without being a religion,
Specific to, okay.
yeah?
I guess that makes sense.
Right? Because a lot of our ritual, and it is a ritual-based society, we go through several rituals on the way through the lodge. And maybe we can get to talk about what are the offices in the lodge, etc., etc., etc. And a lot of those rituals have religious undertones. Yeah? So, like I said, we're all inclusive. We don't exclude anybody, at least in what is called the craft lodge, because Freemasonry, of which there are up to 32 different levels, mainly to represent, 33 levels to represent 33 years of Christ's life. Yeah?
Okay.
Right.
So,
that therein lies some of the religious underpinnings of.
all the way up.
Yeah.
All the way up. We have the Knights Templars, for which you may have heard of. There's a certain sector called the Knights Templars, So, but in what is called Craft Lodge, we only have, 3 degrees. You become an entered apprentice, which are terms coming forward for hundreds of years. You enter the craft as an entered apprentice. You then pass on to what is called a fellow of craft, and then you pass on to what is called the master mason. Right? Now, there's a difference between the master and the master mason.
Right, okay.
Yeah? First and foremost, it is respect. Respect for one another. And our rituals, our meetings that we have are very, very regimented. There's an entrance, and you go through different parts of the agenda, etc., etc., etc. So that is kind of an overview. We're a charitable organization. We have in the 24 lodges, each particular lodge has a separate charity fundraiser sometime during the year. And those funds go towards, normally, your community, assisting children's homes, things like that. So, they say Freemasonry, but it ain't really free.
Right.
Because if you look to support each charity that each lodge is having,
Yeah, it could run you some
serious
fairly
money. So
warm
you have to
dollars if
be a
you're
little
going
bit, selective.
That's 2 charity events a month.
Well, actually, I joined Freemasonry under the Scottish Constitution. 2 years later, I joined the English Constitution. So I'm a member of 2 lodges, one English, one Scottish, in San Fernando. Now, as I said, we have 24 lodges between Trinidad, Tobago, and Grenada. We have 1 lodge building in San Fernando, of which there are 4 lodges in there.
Okay.
1 Scottish, 2 English, and a Prince Hall. In Port of Spain, and we call the lodge Temple. That's where we have our meetings. In Port of Spain, there are 4 temples, 1 in Arima, 1 in Tobago, and 1 in Grenada. And that's where we are housed. So, like I said, we're a charitable organization. We have a little book that we use, which is literally like our lesson book. And what we try to achieve, like I started off by saying, by taking a good man and making him better. Like all the good books, the Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, it's all geared towards making a man or woman a better person in the eyes of your family, your society, and ultimately of your God. All right, so that is basically what we try to do with our teachings. And our teachings, as I said, a little bit different from the Bible and the Quran and so forth, but it works. It works. And Freemasonry is an ideal. It is an ideal. I mean, if we could follow literally all the teachings, we would be perfect persons. We aren't perfect. We aren't perfect. So we try our best to be there. But it's a human organization, and you're going to get shortcomings. You know?
As with, I guess, everything else.
Yep.
So, you joined 20 years ago encouraged by the premise of making a good man a better man. And I assume you've enjoyed it since, because you're still there and you agreed to come on and...
20 years is a long time to be suffering through something.
Exactly, you know what I mean? So that's why you joined. What have you gotten out of it? Like, what fulfillment do you get out of it?
Oh, there's a lot of fulfillment. A lot of fulfillment. I, as you probably know, I enjoy performing.
You don't know that? I see you make a face.
I didn't know that.
Brother man, you have songs
I've
songs
seen,
and things recorded.
I have
you know?
literally just seen him dress up like for Halloween and thing, and that's about it.
Nah, you missing whole sections of G-Man. And you have
Okay,
song
okay.
on radio and all kind of thing.
What?
Yes. And he's performing in carnival fete and thing. So long story short, he liked to perform.
Okay.
Right? Carry on.
Right. Well, our rituals are performances. You know? And good ritual, it's like a play. Good ritual is a wonderful thing to see. And that's something that I enjoy, is being part of that, and seeing good ritual and being part of good ritual. Along with that, of course, the other benefits are meeting good people.
Networking. Yeah.
Well,
guess, I don't know.
networking to an extent, because people join Freemasonry for different reasons. What we try to avoid is people joining Freemasonry believing that it could be financially beneficial to them because of who are involved in Freemasons.
Right, so people who joined just so that they could run the country. Because we'll get there, but because that is one of the stigmas, is that this kind of
Freemasons
new
run the
world
world.
order,
Freemasons control the world.
this new world order kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So you'll actually actively try to avoid people with,
Well,
megalomaniacal.
Your intention.
It's exactly. It's and after you observe someone for a while, you know where their head is. They're promoting themselves, they're promoting their business, they're looking for contacts, things like that. So we try to minimize that. This is an organization where we help everybody. If I have one of my brothers, and we call all of them brothers, who's a dentist, I'll go and support him.
Support his business, okay.
But he ain't gonna come and bring an advertisement in the lodge and say,
No soliciting.
correct.
So ideally you're trying to help everybody, but you're not trying to help yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Good point.
Because it's so the intro mentioned social and charitable. It's not meant to be self-serving at all.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But like, if you are detected like with these ulterior motives, are you like, I don't know, excommunicado?
That was going to be my leading question. So you were approached by friends of yours.
Yes.
So what is the actual process for joining? Because
Right.
I imagine there's a
vote or something.
a nomination and then a vetting process and then
Correct. Yeah. When you apply,
you promise your firstborn son, that kind of thing. That would be me.
demystifying.
Still just
You
waiting.
can't say I didn't talk to you in the early days.
Yeah, I can't say that at all. We're going to tell them stories anyway.
No, the method is of an application is, in the first instance, is someone within the lodge putting your name forward. That, of course, has to be approved within the lodge itself, or what we call on the floor of the lodge. It also becomes, because of the relationship of the community, of the fraternal community, your name is sent out to all the lodges, English, Scottish, and Prince Hall, so that anybody can come forward and say, that fella shouldn't be here. He don't have the right morals, or he involved in skullduggery, you know, if he have a case pending against him for, you can be literally stopped in your tracks and say, he can't go forward.
Blackballed.
Well, the black ball, and that is a Freemason's term.
That's why I brought it
I think
up.
everybody knows of a black ball. That is in the actual balloting process. The balloting process is that when the name has been circulated, there comes a point where the lodge votes on your application. And if you are blackballed, it means that there are literally black balls in a container that will negate you.
So somebody put forward a black ball on this nomination.
Because they have a particular reason for doing that.
So that term, black ball,
Black ball is a
literally
lodge
came
term
It's a lodge.
from Freemasonry.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of Freemasons terms that we use.
So that was the next one, is what are some pop culture or zeitgeist terms that everybody uses and
they don't
nobody
know
realizes
that they
it
are
comes from Freemasonry.
Here's a good one, on the level.
On the level, okay.
Yeah? If somebody telling you, here, on the level. Here
This
what?
person is on the level.
Right. It means he on the level. The level,
Being an actual builder's level.
well, that's probably where it started from. But in Freemasonry, everybody's on the level. We are the same. You know?
Like an agreement, I guess.
Well,
More like Knights at the Round Table kind of thing, like everybody's equal, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we do have a hierarchy. It's not a question of, you know, we all equal, but some more equal
Yeah,
than
because I
others.
figure like everybody can be equal because he called like 3 levels to start with,
Right.
and then there'd be more than that, 33.
33 and
Yeah. Now, I have, my particular thing, I have only gone to 3. But there are some Masons that have been it and have gone all the way. I think.
Yeah,
I
because
think
your firstborn is still here, so.
no, I decided.
I get surrendered at the 5th level. So given someone the 3rd degree is also a Masonic term, isn't
That
it?
is that's a
Okay.
Masonic term. Correct.
And it
You
comes
get
from
the 3rd degree.
comes from
Literally, the 3rd degree.
getting
as I
into
said,
the 3rd degree.
Your first degree is your entered apprentice. Your second degree is your fellow of craft, and your 3rd degree is the master mason. So you get the 3rd degree, which is the harder.
An intense interrogation of sorts.
Because that's what 3rd degree, yeah.
Yeah, giving someone the 3rd
The
degree,
degree
yeah.
is-
Correct. So that's another Masonic term.
Trying to think of another one. Black Friday, Friday the 13th, I know is associated with the Knights Templar,
Right.
which, as my history / Masonic history, if I remember it properly, Friday the 13th was when whichever pope and whichever king conspired to eliminate the Knights Templar across Europe.
Correct.
You could fill in the names from after. Because the church and it was the French king or the English
French
king?
king.
The French king were threatened by their wealth. They just become too powerful, politically and financially. And so they conspired to eliminate them all on one night because it couldn't be a campaign.
Yeah, because they had too many resources. Yeah.
They put their agents all over Europe and just mass slaughter. So
Yeah.
that's why Friday the 13th is considered Black Friday.
Black Friday. That's
And-
one of the first terms.
From what I read, the surviving Knights Templar found refuge
Scotland.
in lodges in Scotland.
Scotland and Portugal, a lot of them fled to.
And so that's when the Knights Templar level became a thing in Freemasonry, or that came after.
That came after. That
But
came
they did go to the Masons for refuge.
Yeah. Well, you see, the Knights Templar were always considered to be a part of Freemasons.
Freemasons.
Ah, okay. But they
to-
were,
to
strictly
make-
speaking, they were separate entities.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why Black Friday is a thing. So all those sales that you all get is from murder.
Slaughter. So, but now they are integrated, the Knights Templar and Freemasons.
Well, the Knights Templar is
Like
one.
it's a level of
is one of those 33 levels.
right,
I think
right.
it's somewhere around 18 or 19, somewhere around.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Plenty levels.
Yeah.
And what I said wow for is because there are 33 levels and Knights Templars 18. And Knights Templars are
You feel like it should
Like-
be up there.
pretty revered throughout history, you know?
Depending on which movie you watch.
No, I mean, just like, casual readings, whenever they're mentioned, me and my, like, binging documentaries, Knights Templars rumored to have
Protect
the
the
apple
grill
in
and all kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
If
they're
you read any Dan Brown,
Dan
you'll know.
Brown, yeah.
They associate with all kind of things.
Actually, Dan Brown, a part of Dan Brown's, his first book, was centered in what is called Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland.
That's not the first book. His first book was Deception Point or
No,
something like that.
you're quite correct.
Yeah, Angels and Demons.
No, that's not. Was the one?
Because
with
Angels and Demons was the second book. So you mean
Third one.
Da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci Code.
Right.
Da Vinci
The
Code.
real popular one that
Yeah.
blew
The
him
first,
up.
the first big movie.
Yeah, the first big one, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of that took place in Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland, which was a Masonic chapel. I mean, and I've been there. It's a fabulous, fabulous building. I mean, there are carvings all over this building, and I mean, they did take some liberties with it because
Naturally.
some of the things were not there that are portrayed in the show. But that is a Masonic temple. It's still an active church, but it's where a lot of the Knights Templars gravitated to.
And his fourth book was actually on Masonry, wasn't it? What was
Find the
Lost Symbol?
Lost Symbol.
Lost Symbol, yeah.
The Lost Symbol was
Yeah,
also
that's where
about-
Dan Brown lost me. He lost me on that book. Like, I
Wow.
could only take so much of all this happens. And you ever read any Dan Brown? So Da Vinci Code is the Angels and Demons. I consider to be a better book, but Da Vinci Code is what blew up and is
Yeah.
all these conspiracy theories about the descendants of Christ and.
If I'm not mistaken, I saw the movie, but I would have been.
Is where the Illuminati was popularized again in pop culture, and all of a sudden all these New World Order things is
But the Illuminati have nothing to do with Freemasons.
No,
That's completely
nothing.
Right.
And but it all, because it's all myth anyway, it all kind of came together. New World Order, Illuminati, Masons.
But that's a huge part of the problem because people just, as far as people are concerned, like Joe Public, Freemasons, the Illuminati, the Antichrist, everything is like a pale hour in one.
Yeah, it's all
So
it's
that
all
is
one
the-
thing.
That is actually why I wanted to. I mean, and I also didn't know what distinguishes one from the other, but I have like an extremely open mind, so I would listen to this and I'd be fascinated by this and that. I'm also not afraid of the word ritual, which is where a lot of people get like stuck. Rituals and oh no.
Yeah, it's
but like taking communion is a ritual. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if people realize that. It's a ritual, so it's not. So these things don't faze me to the point where I just close my mind and oh no, that's demonic. Yeah.
But getting back to how you get into it, how you get involved in it. Firstly, like I said, is to know someone involved in it already. So they will put your name forward.
Check.
So if you know someone involved in it, can you put your own name forward to them and like, hey, I want to join? Or do you
Yes.
have to be approached? You can.
Yes, definitely.
So that doesn't set off overly ambitious alarm bells that this
No.
person should
No,
not be.
it's like myself. I mean, I had known quite a, well, I can't even say quite a bit because I mean, history of Freemasonry goes way beyond what I could comprehend. So yes, I knew some of what it was, and that's what attracted me initially. So yes, my friends were talking to me and they said, you know, you should join. You're a good man. We think you're going to make a good Mason and so forth and so forth. Yeah. But there are people who would say, I'm reading about it. Do I know anybody who's a Freemason? And,
And you'd be surprised, honestly.
you know, literally.
Yeah.
So that is one way. What has been happening a lot recently is that interested persons would go up on the website, and the constitutions have
What?
websites.
Right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's not a secret society. There's a website
Oh, yeah.
on
You
the
can go up-
actual internet.
You can go up on the Grand Lodge of Trinidad and Tobago and Grenada, or the Grand Lodge of Trinidad and Tobago, which is the English Constitution, and you can send an email to the Secretary of the Grand Lodge, of the District Grand Lodge. They will then find out, for instance, where you live, what is the closest lodge to your area, and they will send someone to speak to you. Find out what you know about Freemasonry and why you want to become a Freemason, etc., etc., etc. So we have had a few applications like that, because currently I'm the secretary of one of my lodges in San Fernando. So I get those from literally
Applicants.
applicants over the internet. So that's another way to do it.
That is a level of demystification that
Yeah, it makes it so. It
seems
doesn't seem
rather
as
banal
evil
now.
anymore. You
Yeah,
know,
it's like, yeah, you can register
I guess-
online. Just send an email online.
Sign up.
No.
Sign up online.
I prefer men on street corners like, psst,
So now,
You want
You wanna be a
to
you
Mason?
have
or-
a guy with like a
Yeah,
mohawk. and
exactly.
Like,
You wanna
hey
be a
guys,
Mason,
You
or-
already know what it is. Click the link in bio and apply.
yeah. Apply now, subscribe, like,
Way
share.
less evil.
You'll have a Facebook page because we could just call it quits at this point. Like if you have a Facebook page, like,
Yeah.
well,
That ain't a-
thanks
or
for
a
joining
TikTok.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Follow me on
TikTok
TikTok.
page.
Yeah.
Follow us on
No,
TikTok.
we have
guys.
You have a Facebook page? Oh, well, cool.
Oh, dang it.
Thanks for joining us on this episode. All right, so somebody can email or you can talk to your friends, and then I assume those are the friends who would nominate you on the floor.
Right. Yes.
And then the name gets floated.
It gets sent out, circularized. You know, if there are no complaints that come back, it's then balloted on, and you set a date for your initiation, and then it moves from there.
And during the initiation, when you're like cutting each other's palms, do you
Flogging.
do you clean the blade before, or is everybody's blood meant to mix?
Cloaks
Or
and daggers.
is it like, do people whip you? Is there whipped cream involved? Is there
Lady.
stories? There's stories.
Conspiracy theories.
Yes.
Oh, the world abounds with them.
Yes.
But no, we
Nothing-
Don't, we don't do anything.
nothing quite so-
anything as drastic
Not
as that.
quite so sinister.
Drastic as that.
Or
You know,
fun.
we always hear this. I used to hear stories about a goat. You know, there's something to do with a goat.
The pentagon.
Do they curry the goat?
What it turns out, and it took me quite a while to realize what that goat thing was. In Freemasonry, we refer to our God as the great architect of the universe. Because an architect is a builder, literally. So we're building our persons. So he's called the great architect of the universe. G-A, great architect, O-T-U.
G-A-O-T.
gratu,
Right.
right? Mm-hmm. So that became goat.
Oh my.
I'm completely lost.
No, I'm not. People are gonna be people, but I am more surprised that nobody said that they worship somebody named Gao too or some
Well, the goat.
nonsense
goat,
like that.
Goat too.
Because
Right.
he's like
Go to.
the great architect of the universe. And I'm like, good go.
Gao.
I was doing the same thing. It's like, good
Gao too.
go. That doesn't
Go.
even
No, well,
rhyme
if
with
you
good.
drop the U, it
And
could be,
mix
it could be
around
like
the-
goat, you know?
Well, the way it is, the way the British spell jail, Goal. You
Well,
see,
I
if you
guess-
flip it, it becomes goat.
It'll be, maybe.
I could conspiracy theory too, you know.
Who knows? I guess.
All right, so the
So the goat is completely out. Nothing
right.
to do with
and
no.
apparently there's no slicing of palms
no bloodletting.
and any
no
sacrificing at all.
No.
France is
No.
still here, so
We
no
sacrifice
firstborns.
our egos.
Okay. That
On the
doesn't
altar
sound-
of humility, that is
That doesn't sound quite so bad.
that is not as
Sinister.
dramatic as I was hoping for.
We leave our egos at the door.
Okay.
As you should.
Freemasons actually sounds really cool. I mean, again, this is the first time in my life I've ever been able to actually sit down and I've never met a Freemason in my life.
You almost certainly have.
Yes.
I can guarantee
You,
that.
Yeah.
The circles you roll in and the people that you know Masons.
Yeah, you're right. But like I said, like they don't introduce it. Look at how long I've known you.
No,
and
they
I only
don't.
knew.
They don't introduce themselves as such.
No.
But so like what happened? So he mentioned that he spoke to me about it.
Like
in
I
the
just want to cut you
in
off
the
like
earlies.
one time.
Sure,
I just
one
want to.
time.
France has like guarded your secret. Like, I have. He just mentioned it like when you were coming on the show, and I was like, "Hey, your dad is a Freemason." In my head, thinking that
And brother, who was supposed to be here too, Nikolai.
And in my head, I'm thinking, I have never seen. When you told me that, I was like, I've never seen Francis' dad like. Do
I've never
magic
seen
or-
Uncle Graham sacrifice
or-
anything. This is
So
blow
I'm
mine.
like,
Let's keep this
okay.
real quiet.
Can't
boy.
wait to be a part of that episode. But carry on, friends.
No, but let me jump in here. When Franz mentioned that you don't know who are Freemasons, when I was interviewed 20 years ago, right? There's a panel of Masons that ask you questions about yourself and why you're interested in it and this, that, and the other. And sitting on that panel was my maths teacher from school, the woodwork teacher from school. Who
Same
would know?
school?
Yeah, at St. Peter's.
St. Peter's, right?
You know, they were on the panel. And I'm saying, wow. You know, so you don't know until you get yourself
Yeah,
involved.
yeah.
And then you say, but wait, no.
You don't know until you need to know.
Yeah.
He
So
involved in this?
after Dad joined, it was also something like the readings and stuff that I would have done. The idea had also appealed. I like fraternal organizations. It's one of the reasons I love martial arts, because there's a real feeling of family and brotherhood in there. As far as I know, you all don't like beat each other up in lodge, right?
No.
Right.
No.
So that's, I mean, less of an appeal for me. But I've always been, there's always this great appeal for brotherhood and belonging and thing, right? So it had always interested me peripherally. And then he joined and piqued my interest a bit more. And he asked me about joining. And I'd had an intention at the time. And then all of a sudden, random people that I know would come up to me and say, "Hey, I see your father joined up, boy. When is your turn?" I'm like, "But what? Who?
Like how many of you are there?
Just
Yeah.
coming up all of a sudden, just little shake hand and say, "I see your father took the step, boy. When is your turn?" I'm like, "But what? All of a sudden, I being recruited."
But what? I'm assuming that you're not sworn to secrecy because, for some strange reason, it's not as well known who are Freemasons and like I know you pretty well.
We don't hide it anymore.
I know y'all don't hide it, but it's like it's unusual how how little is known about you all,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. Now, as I said
Because,
earlier,
I mean, there's a website, so.
you know, we do consider ourselves society with secrets. Now, all of the ritual of Freemasonry is on the internet. You could go up there
What?
and download the ritual. The problem is that you probably wouldn't know what you're reading. You could see it, but here comes the allegorical meaning of it. It's like the Psalms in the Bible. It's preachings of Jesus Christ. There was always an underlying reason.
The way to interpret
He
it.
make it sound nice, but behind that is the reason, you know? And that is what the allegory is in Freemasonry. Yeah, you could download it, but what is it really teaching me? What is behind that? And you can't know what is behind that until you become a part of it. You know, so there's no secret to say. It's all there. It's all there on the internet.
That is
basically,
fascinating.
basically, it's like there's no secret to being like an astrophysicist, but you have to, you have to be in it
Yeah,
to
because
understand.
like
Yeah.
even the because as you say astrophysics, so like Neil deGrasse Tyson, I will listen to him try to break stuff down for lay people, and like, bro, you're losing there. Like he will start to use some terms like, I'm gonna have to
It will
Google
take,
that.
it will take a while. It will take a while.
Yeah,
it's
so
possible, but
so if I read an astrophysics book, I wouldn't know what I'm reading, and then but you had to get a degree
yeah,
in astrophysics.
I 100% get it. I just think it's extremely impressive that that there are so many Freemasons, and it really isn't like as secretive as you might be led to believe by pop culture and whatever.
But they're not-
it's still not like
It's not, because so when I was in the States, I remember seeing a Freemason, the emblem, the what do you call it?
Square and compasses.
Right, the square and compass. So there's an actual compass like from trigonometry, a square, so like the L-shaped ruler, and then the G in the middle.
I think I've seen rings like that.
Right. So yes, so those are the rings that some of them wear if they want to. I remember seeing that on a bumper on somebody's car. I was like, but what the jail? This man real out and about
Advertising.
with himself, boy.
Gonna get
And then
assassinated.
I don't remember where I was, but this dude had his arm was out, and he had that same square and compass. What do you call it? It's not even a tattoo. The brand.
Brand.
A brand of
You
a
could-
square and compass.
You could do that?
Well, I mean,
It's-
this was in the States, so I mean,
Yeah, it's a little bit frowned upon.
Frowned upon, yeah. I mean,
Yeah. It's a little bit frowned upon.
But like, so in the States, branding is popular with like the black fraternities. They brand their frat logo instead of tattooing it. You didn't spend much time in the States?
No.
No?
Like no time? Zero.
Right, none.
Yeah.
Right. So university. So I only saw this in Houston. And yeah, those guys would brand it. So like it was more an alpha thing. There's alphas and who were the pretty boys? I forget. To my shame. Anyway, the alphas are like the big athlete guys. And yeah, they would brand their thing. So this dude had it branded. And I was fascinated. Like, I thought this was a secret society.
I mean, I
Kinda
just
thing.
had to ask you that because, like, from the brief overview he gave us, it seemed like a very kind of a proper society where tattooing might be, I guess, frowned upon as well.
Well, it might be, but it was if it's university people, there's young people who trying to, I'm part of a crew now, so I could show off. But there's also people like I approached somebody before I approached my father to come on the show, and he was like, nah, and he just doesn't want to advertise his membership,
Association with-
basically. And cool, no problem. So it's not like everybody's like, yeah, well, I'm a Freemason, and no worries. I don't know why. If you have any insight as to why people might keep it quiet.
Well, there's still a little bit of a stigma concerning it in some of the organized religions. However, the Catholic Church has what is called a papal bull or bulletin that came out 300 odd years ago, where they had a problem with the secrecy surrounding Freemasonry.
You don't know what these people are up to.
Exactly.
Better demonize them.
And that is literally what happened. And that has continued to today. Now that is basically the Catholic Church. There are one or two other Christian religions or societies that also frown on Freemasonry. But it all kind of started there. Now, on the other side of the coin, the Anglicans, the Church of England, their bishops are Freemasons.
Well, they also believe in, like, they allow divorce and female priests.
Well, so you know, it's not.
They're just wild.
It's not a. It's
not wild, just more open-minded, I guess.
Nah, me and religion don't saddle so much, so I could just they're wild.
Now that's another point. In Freemasonry, we do not discuss religion or politics.
Mm-hmm.
Those are left at the door. That is not
along with your ego.
Along with your ego, because those two topics divide people.
Well, yeah, they're almost designed to.
So that is no in Freemasonry. Now, I need to go a little bit further in that outside of the meeting, which is where the business of the lodge is conducted, after the meeting, we all get together afterwards to have a meal.
Is that a goat?
It could be curry
Sometimes
goat.
it could be goat, right?
You know, it could be goat, it could be duck.
They're eating the goat, y'all. They're not worshiping the goat. They're eating the goat.
Killing a goat.
And it is that.
Well, the goat had to die to be eaten. Do you all kill the goat on sight or? No?
We only sacrifice our egos.
Right, okay.
Yeah, right.
On the altar of humility.
Correct.
Right.
So,
Most likely.
at those what we call the harmony dinners, that is where the fraternity gets together to talk and chat and get to know one another. So, we are an international society, right? Meaning that what we have been through in our lodges, the rituals that we have been through is universal.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same rituals that are practiced all over the world. Now, I have been to lodges in the States. I have been to lodges in Scotland. I have been to England. Instantly, you are recognized as a brother because we have been through the same series of rituals. And that is immediately a starting point to getting to know one another.
Mm-hmm.
So it's international, And once you become a member, you can get a letter if I'm going anywhere. And there's a lodge there. I can get a letter from my secretary saying that this is a brother in well standing. It means that all my dues have been paid. Please welcome him. And partner, they roll out the red carpet for you. Absolutely. In fact, I was at a meeting in Guyana several years ago, and I was introduced as a visiting master at the time. And one of the members of the lodge says, "Well, we know that name." And my great-grandfather's name was on what is called the honor board, where you list the masters of the lodge from the beginning of the lodge to latter day. His name was there in 1872. Never knew it.
In Guyana.
In Guyana. Never knew it. So you could come across these things. Friends, members have come to me as secretary of the lodge and say, I want you to research so and so, because I think he was a Mason. And we can find that information through the Grand Lodge of England or the Grand Lodge of Scotland, because they have all the records. Where he was, when he joined, all of that sort.
His rank.
Well organized. Well organized. So, on top of the dinners, where we have, like I said, the fraternity gets together to know one another, we also have social events outside of fundraising, where the Grand Lodge and the 3 Grand Lodges in Trinidad, the district Grand Lodges, I should say, not the Grand Lodges, district Grand Lodges, come under the umbrella of what is called the TTMCO, the Trinidad and Tobago Masonic Charity Organization. And they have fundraisers 2 or 3 times a year. We have a golf tournament, we have what is called the October Fair, and all the lodges pool their resources, and those funds go to helping entire communities. That is where the charity goes to. So, those are fairly well publicized in the newspapers, and so, the 3 weeks ago, there was a big one in Port of Spain that was advertised. I think it was even on the TV.
TTMCO.
Right, the TTMCO. Now, also involved inside there is called the TTMPS, which is the Trinidad and Tobago Masonic Providence Society. Now, that is a part where we contribute towards assisting the family of a Mason that has passed away, assisting with expenses. And instantly, within a day, once you have become a member of that society, of that part of fraternity, you get a check the next day. It is so well organized and regulated that literally, from the time notice is made, this brother has passed away, the next day there's a check in his wife's hand or in the family's hand. So that's where, the help
That's the fraternity, yeah.
comes from. But that is inside the lodge, the lodges.
Right. Well, charity begins at home. So.
So, I'm not going to obviously ask for details, but so there would be some way to instantly recognize fellow lodge members that y'all would know amongst yourselves.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Can't tell you what they
No,
are.
I know that, but cool.
No, it's somewhat similar to, because like ITF, International Taekwondo Federation, is the same. Ritually, all classes are supposed to be conducted the exact same way, in the same language. So you ideally should be able to go from here to Spain, and they conduct the classes in Korean anyway, supposed to be. And so you should be able to fall in rank, whatever. Once you know your patterns and you know your techniques, you're supposed to be able to fall in with, let's say, the 3rd degree class and follow along word for word in Korean what they're teaching. And if you're up to date on the international instructors courses that they do throughout the world every year, all your techniques should be just as not sharp, but in sync. So over the decades, there have been little changes as to where the hand position is for this technique and where the kick goes for this technique,
But everybody gets the memo.
Well, if you go to the courses, so
Okay.
you can tell, like, if you've missed a few courses, for a few years, Trinidad was not able to attend an IIC. So when we had masters come down, I noticed, it wasn't brought up, but I noticed, like, just a garden block, their hands looked different from where I had my hands. But this is what I was taught. So I asked one of them afterwards, like, how come, like, I don't know what you're doing there. Oh, like, oh no, this was changed.
Oh, yeah, this was updated.
This was changed some years ago, like
check the
maybe 10
website.
years ago. Should have checked the website, right? And so it's the same thing. If it's an international society, you're meant to just fall in anywhere and be able to get along.
No, I
and
mean,
know all the
but
rituals and
I'm just, again, remember, so the whole romantic idea of this international and secretive society. So I was just like, must have some kind of like a cool handshake or something. Or
I feel like there's definitely handshakes and a little tips to the
My,
hat and
my wife has been trying to find out what that handshake is for the last 20 years.
And that is what I was supposed to ask. So, you are a Freemason, and is it that now so your family is not allowed to tell people you're a Freemason, or
No. It's like
clearly
I said,
not what some
No,
brought him on the show.
I was just yeah, but I was just wondering maybe like the memo no, that doesn't make sense because it's been the same for like
1,000 years.
yeah. But I was just wondering because the real kicker for me is just how little is known about Freemasons on the whole.
So, well, what I want to know is actually a personal thing because I feel like I know a part of it, but not the entire thing. So, you're talking about Uncle Sonny and how it did not necessarily go over well with the family that he was a Freemason. And my grandfather, his father was Opus Dei Catholic. So, how did that go over when you joined Freemasonry?
well, actually, my father, daddy,
You could explain Opus Dei
When-
Catholicism to everyone one time, too.
when I joined Freemasonry, he came to me and he said, I understand that you have joined a fraternal organization. He was a very proper man. Understand you
proper
have
man.
joined a fraternal organization. I hope you know what you're doing. And that was it. That was it. He never asked anything after that. Well, of course, he would have known that Uncle Sonny was involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
And Sonny was a very well-respected man. So it's a question that if Sonny was involved in it, it could be good for Graeme too.
Right, okay.
So, yeah, I never had a problem. Daddy never. Now,
Never brought it up after that?
I also have a brother that was involved for a while. And being or becoming a fairly staunch Catholic part of the Opus Dei, which in my mind is a very tunnel vision organization. And
Yeah,
because
my
it is
Latin isn't fantastic, but Opus Dei is
Work
God.
of God.
Work of God. yeah.
work of God.
It's a really strict Catholic group, basically.
All right, so because the Freemasons were frowned upon by the Pope, who's a Catholic, when he joined the Opus Dei, decided that he could no longer be a Freemason.
But even then, and I don't know what the timeline is, but I mean, we can't be talking much more than a couple decades. Was it openly frowned upon by the church still? Or is that just a kind of hanger on from.
It's still frowned upon by the Catholic Church.
Is it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, just a few months ago, what is the word when you reaccept something? This papal bull that came out 300 years
reaffirmed it?
ago, they reaffirmed it. However,
It's a bit
However,
backwards, isn't it?
however, within the last few months, the Grand Lodge, one of the Grand Lodges in Italy, has been conducting negotiations with the Vatican. So, and that is ongoing because we get reports coming back.
Well, I feel like if there's any pope gonna give
Could
you all
be this
some
one.
leeway, it will be this one. Because I mean,
be this
Francis seemed like a wild and crazy guy. I mean,
he's liberal.
he says some really non-popey things,
So we
and I
were
actually rate him for that.
we were fairly surprised when they
When they reissued the
reissued
bull,
that. Yeah.
yeah, that's wow. You're gonna just reissue something from the Middle
Just to
Ages.
make
You know
sure.
what? You know what? This is making more sense
Don't
today.
forget, guys.
Don't forget
Still
this
against-
thing. Yeah, let's just step backwards.
I mean, it was to the extent where if you were Freemason, you could be excommunicated from the Catholic Church.
I guess medieval organizations have to
in
maintain
Trinidad-
their status quo.
In Trinidad, we have kept quite close with our bishops. You know, I mean, they'll never officially accept it until
The Pope does.
Vatican says something different. But no, we get along well, and we have actually had Roman Catholic priests do presentations at our meetings. I remember that a couple of years ago.
But I imagine no Masons have been invited to do presentations at church meetings.
No.
Not officially, anyway. They may have, but just
Yeah,
Wasn't-
they probably
wasn't
they may
known
have.
they may have.
'Cause I want to believe that the well, you said the bishops, they would have been Freemasons as well, or they just
that's Anglicans.
No, the Anglican.
Oh,
Anglican
not,
bishops.
not
Okay,
Catholic
okay,
bishops.
Archbishops.
No.
You know. Oh yeah. Yeah.
oh.
All right, so make sure you know what you're doing, and then it just kind of never came up again with your father.
Generally.
Cool.
Now, you one of the questions that you wanted to ask was, what are the steps in Freemasonry? Mm-hmm. Insofar as I say, you join as an entered apprentice, then you move to the fellowcraft, then you move to the master mason. Now that takes a couple of years. Now, within the lodge, there is a hierarchy. And at the top of that hierarchy is what is called the master. And he normally will be in charge of the lodge for 1 year. And during that year, he's like the general manager of a company. Mm-hmm. He organizes. He gets himself involved in the
Charitable work.
everything. He helps out or gets himself involved with different committees to get things done. Yeah, treasurer, treasury, the whole thing. So he's the organizer of the business for a year, and they hope that everybody would aspire to that. Yeah, so normally that would take 6-8 years to move from being an entered apprentice to master. And you pass through different offices within the lodge up to the top. Now, when I joined in 2004, I joined Naparima in 2006. I became the master at Naparima in 2012. That was my first mastership. I became the master of my mother lodge in 2015. So that was a span of 11 years between when I joined my mother lodge, which was Lodge Alexandra, until then. That was the second time I became master. 2 years later, we had a little of an issue within the lodge, and they asked me again to hold the mastership, and that was for another 2 years. Two consecutive more years. So I have been a master on 4 occasions, which is rare, really and true. And then came COVID. Now at COVID, whoever was in the chair at the time, whoever the master was, had to hold on for consecutive years because meetings were rare,
Right.
so forth. And then, I guess this is my bio, if you want to call it, in Freemasonry. Overarching all of this is the district. The district is the governing body of each. Well, I was invited to join both districts, the English and Scottish districts. And currently, I am the orator of the English district, which means that I write presentations and I go around to the different English lodges and make those presentations. And I've also been invited by Scottish lodges to do those presentations in there. Yeah? So that is on the English side. I'm, like I said, the district grand orator of the English Constitution in Trinidad and Tobago. And on the Scottish side, they actually created a position for me because I used to like to perform. And on one trip to Scotland in 2018, I think, we had gone to a dinner with our Scottish brethren up there. And the district grandmaster at the time asked me to get up and sing a calypso, which I did. And of course,
Naturally.
the calypso was Sweet, Sweet Trinidad.
Oh, I thought you would go with Congo, man.
No. That's a different one altogether. And to my surprise, when I was invited to join the Scottish district, they put me as the bard
Oh, okay.
of the district. It was literally created that position in the Scottish district.
When you're big and large, but
And every time the district had a meeting, I was expected to present a piece of poetry and sing some old-time calypso.
what a thing.
Well,
and I held-
I can see what you enjoy so much about.
I held that position for 2 years and absolutely enjoyed it. Absolutely enjoyed it.
What's the instrument like a bard usually play? What is
A lute.
called?
A
A
lute.
lute.
Yeah.
So I had mentioned before that Nico was supposed to be on the episode as well. So on his behalf, why, if you could run through what his, not like why he got interested in it and all that, but like because you were mentioning the offices that you've held. I know Nico has also sat in the chair,
Yeah.
hasn't he? So what are his, and so my youngest brother is, what year are we in? 2024.
24.
So he's 34. Yeah? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he's
Yeah,
34.
he's 34.
So a younger guy,
Test France.
he's, no, that's how I do the math. Like, what year are we in?
Yeah.
And so a younger guy, that's why I wanted Nico on the show, is to show that it's appeal, the Masonic appeal
Demographic, yeah.
through generations. So as a younger guy, I want to know what got him involved in it as well. But he's been a Mason for how long?
10 years.
He's been so long?
10 years.
Right. So he joined in his early 20s, mid 20s. And I did not realize he was a Mason. He joined that long ago.
It's
And
secret
so
society,
the
friends.
office,
That's
yeah. Also, I see Nico a couple times a year, and we definitely do talk Masonic business, knock bears and talk rubbish. So, what are the offices that he has held, and what level is he on
Well,
in terms of degrees?
he has his third degree. I mean, to reach the chair of master, you have to have had your third degree. Right? Nico is now considered, because his year ended in February of this year. So he is now considered a past master, and he's called the immediate past master, the IPM. From February next year, when the next master come in, he will just be a past master, like myself. Right? And that's it. That's it. Now, the levels that you go through within the lodge, there's wardens, which are the level below the master. There's deacons, which is the level below that. There's guards. There's secretary. There's treasurer. There's Bible bearer. There's chaplain. There's almoner, which means that you have, your position is to call the elder members of the lodge, make sure that the lodge knows what's going on with them, things like that. You know? So all of these are little positions that you have in your life as a Freemason.
So some of those sound administrative, and some sound purely ceremonial.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
accurate.
The Bible bearer sounded a little strange.
Purely ceremonial.
So it's not any specific Bible, or do you all?
No. On
Rotate Bibles,
in my lodge, in San Fernando, my Scottish lodge, we have 3 holy books on what we would call a pedestal: the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Bible. Now, when you become a Freemason, you take an oath, you take an obligation, and whatever your religion is, you take the obligation on that book.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
So again, it's not, and this is just to clarify for viewers, it's a secular organization with religious underpinnings.
Correct.
In that you have to have a faith in a higher power in order to
yeah.
join as a
But the popular
Freemason.
misconception is that Freemasons are against religion.
Religion, exactly.
No, we're not against religion, not by any means.
Right,
Because
so but
we accept all religions.
but that is the popular misconception, is that you all are, if not a religion unto
Evil.
yourselves, yes, well, there's the evil, a religion unto yourselves, which would thereby make you inherently evil, or you are anti-religion, but you're not.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
So so Bible bearer sounds pretty self-explanatory. What do guards do?
The guard introduces people into the lodge. Like if you are visiting, and we encourage that. We encourage our members to visit the other lodges throughout, because every lodge, the ceremonies, although are basically the same across the board, there's subtleties in each lodge. So we encourage our members to go visiting. The guard would be responsible for introducing those visitors into the lodge. Make sure that they come properly prepared, that they have their regalia on properly, and then bring them in. So
Seat them.
he literally guards the door. I mean, that is a historical
Yeah,
term.
I imagine so,
coming
because
forward.
I figure in some kind of secret society, you would have a
Oh, yeah.
guard by the door.
Oh, yeah.
And like, this person's visited from this lodge, you walk behind them with one hand on your sword, and like, if you're trying any funny stuff, chief, you're getting
Correct.
this in your liver.
Correct, because in days gone by, he literally had a sword.
He would. He's the god. If nobody else has a sword, he had to have a sword.
So yeah, that is basically the inner guards.
Okay. Interesting. So the point that the line of question about Nico is just to show the appeal across generations, because I feel like another stigma would be, this is a group of
Middle-aged
stuffy, not even middle-aged, but like stuffy old men, and just like Mr. Burns just kind of plotting, how can I run, excellent, just how can I run the world now, or ruin the world
Right.
now?
Well, to start off, at this point in time, the age of joining is 21. Although you can join if you are what is called the son of a Mason. He can join at 18,
Okay.
right? But that is only for the son of a Mason. Outside of that, it's 21.
21. So there is a familial,
Nepotism.
yeah, well, I wasn't going to say nepotism, but there's a,
Like a perk or a privilege, I guess.
yeah, privilege is what I was going for, in terms of joining. I guess that the fact that you're the son of a Mason almost acts like a nomination
Yeah.
in and of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how come? Why didn't you want to be a Freemason?
No, I wanted to. So when it was presented to me, I very much wanted to. It's just at the time I was very early in personal training, and as you would know,
You didn't have time.
every hour is hustle hour, and so there's meeting days that you have to commit. Otherwise, there's fees, because you mentioned fees. So there's registration dues, not just registration, but yearly
Annual
dues,
dues.
annual dues, membership dues, and you have to attend a certain amount of meetings. again, like martial arts, you have to have a certain amount of mat time in order to grade, right? You have to train or you can't grade. You can't just wait for time to pass and then you grade. And I could not meet those commitments. It was Tuesdays and Thursdays or just Thursdays.
All lodges meet at least once a month.
One Thursday a month. And that would mean for me, every month I had to cancel an entire evening of
whole day,
clients.
yeah,
and
yeah.
you know that
Yeah.
you're going to lose those clients.
That's a little inconvenient.
Yeah, so at the time I could not. And then later on, when I possibly could, how should I say it? I did not qualify for
you didn't meet the criteria.
their main criteria of believing in a great architect and a supreme being. I don't meet that criteria anymore. So I feel like I can't sit down and then pretend like I do and just sit through the whole religious bit of it and just twiddle my thumbs and...
Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to do that either. I mean, no, never any disrespect to like, I'm a pretty accepting person,
And I'm
but
being disrespectful to anybody. I'm an atheist. End of it.
No, I mean, I'm just an accept. Like, if you're an atheist, I wouldn't say I'm an atheist, but I just
I feel
kind
you're
of,
more of an agnostic.
yeah, I guess.
I
Yeah.
think more
Yeah.
agnostic.
Yeah, if you're not sure, then you're more of an agnostic.
If you could sit down and convince me, like, the the beauty of the Quran or the Bible.
I could
or
be
any,
convinced of all of that. That don't mean I had to believe that God wrote it or that there's a God involved. I have nothing against like religious teachings, and there's beauty and wisdom in all those books. I just don't believe it was dictated by a supreme being. And there's no disrespect to anybody who does. It's just...
Yeah, facts. I mean,
I remain
it could never
unconvinced.
be you entitled to, your own.
Yeah, exactly.
opinion on this.
So at first I didn't have time, and now I just don't meet
Now you're just
their
evil, so,
main
yeah,
criteria.
no
Yes,
way.
I'm just an evil,
Right out.
evil idolater. So yeah, you have any more questions for the Bard?
No,
That is
I
gonna be my
don't,
name for you from
because
now
I
on.
Just,
Tanuma G-Man, he's the
I
Bard.
just, I prefer to just leave the mystique attached, that amount of mystique attached to Freemasonry. I don't want to ask any like silly questions.
I feel like God
I-
goes out of the way with like
Yeah,
sacrifices.
no. I mean, there are more questions, but I wouldn't say relevant questions. So yeah, we could. Wow, thank you so much for
It was
today.
my
This
pleasure.
is-
It
This
was
is
my
legit my favorite episode. yeah. You didn't realize how
Your
quiet I
pause, your
was.
pause and race?
No. My pause didn't raise because it's not to say like my pause might raise if I relate to something or it's, something hits home, but I have this is like ignorance and I'm just like, wow, education.
Yeah, I always know when Vaughn is into the thing because you just sit there
yeah, I'm
and,
leaning.
and absorb. And I look at him and he's still watching the guest and like, just come up with a question on the spot. Just waiting.
Fran's
Anytime,
like, hey, Vaughn, wake up.
anytime you're ready. So yeah, I know when Vaughn is absorbed.
Yeah. I always wanted to. I think this is exactly what I was expecting it would be, kind of.
Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I love speaking about Freemasonry because I enjoy it.
He's
I
also
enjoy it.
he's also a raconteur. We discussed this last episode.
Yeah. I was
You just
paying
don't remember.
attention,
Storyteller
Yikes.
likes to tell stories. So, as
I
well as
messed up the spelling, so
as well as a bard, you just
I
right.
that off. I hate.
I
If you
forgot
that slightly traumatized me,
And it's on camera too.
Yeah, boy, immortalized. Crap, I let you down, Mom.
Damn it.
Yeah, and also, if you remember, this is most definitely the most I've spoken to your dad in my entire life. So,
Probably, yeah.
yeah, this is a cool episode, man.
It's so these stories used to be. So just like if you saw the episodes with like Stuart and them where they talk about how vexed I used to be, everybody used to think you were just vexed all the time.
Until they got to know me, and then they realized that I'm full of shit.
Yes.
every single last one of us was terrified of
Like, wait, that Franz Pop's
everybody.
real
Big,
dread
small.
boy. Like, afternoon, uncle, and uncle do answer tall. Or like,
No, he would answer.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
we
like,
be there every single man jack. We could be
drift into the bedroom
having,
like, wait, Franz Pop's real dread boy.
we could be having the time of our lives, and then he comes home and is like, "Hey, Franz Daddy show, everybody," just like stand up in a corner, like, "Good afternoon, Mr. G."
Afternoon, uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Inside. So yeah, that man grew up afraid.
Yeah,
but they grew up afraid of me too for some reason.
inherent.
So
Yeah, but he was like,
we had the same kind of visage, you and me.
yeah. And it didn't help how much y'all resemble. Like, even back then, y'all resemble I think y'all resemble even more back then. I don't even know if it's possible. Y'all resemble a lot now, but I think back then, no.
but resemble more now because we had the same hairstyle.
I'm actually thinking about it. You and your dad just kept on resembling.
Just
each other.
resemble, just grow
Now
into
as
resemblance.
I'm really thinking about it, that was a stupid thing to say. I could have gone the whole episode without saying that, but damn. So guys, that has been my favorite episode. Thank you so much for joining us, and you could thank me, or you can thank Fran for getting this fantastic guest and clearing up a whole lot of misconceptions for you guys today.
Or you could keep believing what you want. Because,
Or you could do that too.
You know,
That's what the vast majority.
dogma is dogma.
Yeah, but yeah.
But
don't
check
forget-
out the website.
Check out. click the link in bio, and also check out 519's itinerary for the season
For Christmas, and
Yeah,
definitely
we've got
get some
these
I Think I Can tickets.
6. Franz is gonna be there in his teal shirt.
Salmon.
Sorry, I'm definitely gonna be there in my pink.
Well, I guess I'll have to get pink then.
Fabulous pink.
Well, we'll see.
So yeah, thank you so much, Mr. G, again for coming on the show.
Yes. Much
and
appreciated.
We will see you guys very soon on the next episode of the Laymans Project.
Deuces.